So, RPGs. No, not those. Final Fantasy X, Octopath Traveler, Lost Odyssey, Persona, Baldur's Gate, blah blah blah. What do all these games have in common? If you guessed colorful casts of characters that are the very life and soul of their respective games, I'd say you're right, but you're missing a piece of that puzzle that never fails to frustrate me. Let's take Final Fantasy X for example, with characters like Tidus, Yuna, Wakka, Auron, Lulu, Riku, characters that I adore from the depths of my heart. Now turn your attention to how many of those characters can be in the party at once. 3. It's a problem I've had with most RPGs for a while now, where the game in question presents you with so many unique characters, while limiting who you actually put on the front lines, to the point it seems like it almost wants you to pick favorites. That's not to say I don't understand why it's done most of the time. Actually, having all 10 Phantom Thieves jump a boss in Persona would be a balancing nightmare, if not a little funny to see. There's also strategy in not being able to buy the best gear for every member, and picking and choosing who best fits your personal playstyle and party composition. But there's definitely ways this problem can be avoided while still maintaining the balance of the game. A good example being Dragon Quest VIII, a journey I consider a masterclass in RPG design. Dragon Quest VIII is very strictly balanced around 4 characters, the fourth of whom you obtain roughly 5 or so hours into the game, which allows for combat encounters to be tailored to these specific 4 characters, who can/will have these specific abilities, leading to the game's difficulty being very tight-knit, which in turn makes encounters more tense, strategic, and far more rewarding. That's not to say that DQ8 has only 4 main characters. The titular Cursed King travels alongside you, acting as the game's journal and as the middleman for an entire mechanic in alchemy. The princess also travels with you, albeit as your horse, since she's also cursed. All this while still keeping a main party of 4 and maintaining the intended balance of the game. See, it's certainly not impossible. Even with more than 8 party members, some games let you switch between an A team and a B team mid-fight, or just outright switch characters in exchange for a turn. But what I want to see is an RPG with 10 characters where the party confronts the villain, shouting the usual, "We're gonna stop you," but instead of cutting to a party of 3, you actually get to jump the boss with all 10 members, eliminating that story to gameplay disparity that mildly annoys me. This party member problem extends to further issues than just my own mild annoyance with gameplay mechanics. Let's wrap back around to Final Fantasy X again as an example. In a game full of specialists, where each party member leans heavily into certain roles, and you can only have 3 party members at a time, why would anyone ever use Kimahri, a generalist character? Aside from copying enemy moves, which sounds cool but sucks in practice since it's locked behind his overdrive, he has no real place on the team, and they went and made him a boring-ass character on top of that. So, on my first ever playthrough, I didn't use Kimahri at all. The game, like many other RPGs, seemed to be encouraging me to either pick favorites or spend time grinding everyone, and I neglected Kimahri because I didn't like him or his playstyle. It seems like the developers knew Kimahri wouldn't be a fan favorite, because when you get to Mount Gagazet towards the end of the game, they throw a mandatory fight with only Kimahri at you. Guess who had to halt the story for an hour or 2 in order to go grind up Kimahri on their first playthrough? The whole point of having a large party is supposed to be the freedom to use who you please, so forcing you into an encounter that negates that freedom always rubbed me the wrong way. If you're gonna put this sort of stuff in, at least have a way for party members to earn XP in the background. Otherwise, it's just tedious for the sake of being tedious. My personal favorite solution is just having smaller parties. It is rare to see, but games like Undertale and Deltarune, the Mario and Luigi games, or even Omori, stand out for making the choice to limit the player. And I get it. Removing the freedom of choice would ruin most RPGs in the way they were designed, but maybe I'm just hoping to see more creativity in the actual combat that often comes with this stricter set of things that the player's allowed to do. Undertale has its whole mercy and talk mechanics, and Mori has the emotions mechanic that works so well because of its set cast and how they interact with each other. Limitations often breed creativity, and I want to see more of it. Let's talk about a game I enjoy that's on the opposite end, a game with maybe too much emphasis on choice and party members. Pokemon. Even though the whole tagline is catch 'em all, I feel like it's never been more obvious in an RPG that you're supposed to pick favorites. Look me in the eyes and tell me that you want to spend time leveling up over 1,000 different Pokemon, while it's beyond easy to just roll through every game by over-leveling your starter, or at the very least picking a competent team of 6 and sticking with them. One cool thing about such a large cast of party members is that there's a choice for everyone. Every Pokemon is someone's favorite. Yeah, some people like Basculin the same way some people like Kimari. Now, picture this. You're gonna go fight the Elite Four and the game forces you to use a level 8 Basculin. Now see, personally, that would really make me upset.